Jerod, congratulations on your upcoming marriage to Robin. We are so excited that this day is coming and to finally have Robin as a niece or a cousin, and it's fabulous news, fabulous. As you're getting ready to marry your angel, Papa asked me if I had any words of wisdom after 20 years of being married to an angel myself. And I thought about it, and I thought, yeah, there are a couple things. And ours starts in our first couple months of marriage. I came home one day, and I went to go in the drawer to have some cold cereal, and there, to my horror, I know this is going to be shocking to you, there was a knife, and next to the knife was the forks and the spoons. Everybody knows it goes knife, spoons, forks, because knives and spoons go on one side and forks go on the other. This is a true story. It's not a made-up story. This got so heated in the kitchen with my wife that eventually voices possibly were raised above a whisper to where the neighbors might have been able to hear us. So much so that eventually I was so upset over the fact that she wouldn't switch them. She had the audacity to say things like, well, I'm the one that does most of the cooking and sitting at the table and putting the dishes away that I think I can decide. Like, can you believe that? Joking. And so I had to go leave, actually. I had to go for a walk. And on my walk while I'm still steaming over forks, I know I'm not the sharpest guy in the world, I remembered the advice I got that said, list 10 things that you love about your spouse. So I started doing this and started off with very meaningful things like, she's alive and she has hair, right? And eventually by the time I got to 8, I realized forks are not that big of a deal. But now I've got a problem. I've got to go apologize to her, which is a lot harder. And I stumbled upon something that I could actually apologize to God. And so I did. And it was a lot easier than to go back and apologize to Andrea for my irrational behavior over where forks were. So point number 1 and 2 are, when you're really mad, list 10 things you really appreciate about your spouse. And 2, ask God about it. Which leads me to my third one, is ask God for when you're hurt and wronged by your spouse. Now, Robin may or may not ever hurt you or wrong you, but most of us times, humans, we bump into each other and cause these types of things. And what I've learned is this incredible resource called Jesus. That when I feel that I have been wronged or deeply hurt, I've learned to turn to Jesus and say, Jesus, are you enough to override these hurts? And what I've come to realize when I do that is I've come to realize I put wrong expectations or just bad expectations on my wife that are just wrong. And Jesus, A, he takes it for me and fills those things that I need. And 2, he helps me show me where I'm wrong. That I found it incredibly powerful to go and ask God for these things rather than take them out of my wife or tell others about them or any of their wrong behaviors. That God is enough to deal with anything I face in my marriage. So in conclusion, my encouragement to you are, when you're really mad, list 10 things about your spouse that you really like. It helps you get perspective. Ask God for forgiveness if you can't ask for your wife, which usually opens the door for him. And lastly, when you're hurt, when you're wrong, ask Jesus, are you enough to fill up what I need in this situation? And be very listening to what he says to you, and it will be very encouraging. And often God tells me he loves me no matter what. But those are my 3 tips for you. And my last one is, I hope that you don't end up opening the silverware drawer and seeing knife, fork, heaven forbid, spoon. But if you do, I guarantee you it's not that big of a deal, and don't get in a fight over it.